Hey, y'all. Okay, part two. So, as I was sitting up here and I was getting ready for part two, something said, say, vulnerability is authenticity. Okay. Vulnerability is authenticity. Okay. Every part of you, you have to be authentic to every part. There's a reason why I'm looking like this, because a lot of us sit up and we fight this tooth and nail. We like, I am one of those people because I lead. I follow and I lead. So when we lead, we have this propensity to always have to be on, feel like we always got to be right, or not necessarily right, but got to be correct in the way that when they have a question, we have the answer. When we don't always have the answer, right? The strongest person goes to find the answer and admits they don't have it, not the person that stands up there and acts like they do and they don't. So being vulnerable does not mean being a walking mat to people. No, it means having your boundaries. Your vulnerability comes from your inner child, the one that plays, the one that just is, the one that makes these crazy ass choices. And we're like, no, 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 we can't do that kind of thing. The one that lets us be silly when something is happening. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The one that still goes out and plays with dirt pies. Don't judge me. So, the creator aspect. And the creator aspect, with your clay on your table, your grid, like Hades, and you're just creating beings, right? So, to be vulnerable is to get to the heart of you, the depth of you that you don't like to show anyone. When people are abused, and I'm going to say right now, I am not a therapist, so please, if this triggers you, please seek professional help, okay? Please seek someone that you can talk to about this and seek guidance from a professional, okay? Because we all need that at times. But when we're abused, I've been abused many different ways, many different kinds of abuse there is. When we're abused, we automatically go to that place and we automatically blame most of the time, okay? And we become the victim, right? Well, let's sit in that for a moment, because when we sit in that space of what did I do? Why is the question to me is that why is that our number one question? What did I do wrong? Right? But it's evident because it happened to us. And so we're like, I must have done something. And then when we can't answer that question, it's the inability to answer that question that then drives us to the other person and the anger. But then still we have anger toward ourselves, because then if we can't find that answer, well, then I'm the bad person because I allowed it. No, no, my love, no. I want to tell you right now, there's nothing wrong with your innocence. There is nothing wrong with your vulnerability. There is nothing wrong with trying to process things that have happened to you, but we don't live in them. We don't stay there. Okay? We recognize, we see. We understand it was a lesson, as horrific as it was. But also give yourself grace and credit that you made it through. And even if you're not over it, you're still making it through. Okay? You're still here when there's a lot that aren't. You are still blessed. You're still loved. I want you to understand that. Okay? I want you to understand that. So, there's nothing wrong with you being you. And a lot of times when we have people that treat us wrong or abuse us, right, we feel like we're too nice, and that's why they were able to abuse us in the first place. No, love, there's nothing wrong with your personality. You didn't know what you didn't know at the time. You didn't know that person was going to do that. And if you had an inkling and you went with it anyway, That's the practice of controlling the desire. You just didn't or weren't able to at that time. You didn't know how to, or you weren't strong enough to at that time. A lot of people go through this. I know a lot of women go through this when we get into relationships because we're the emotional ones. And we didn't see the asshole. We didn't see the con. We didn't, you know what I'm saying? But it can work for either any gender, it can work for anyone. And we were like, we came to you loving, and this is what you did. You took our vulnerability and used it. You wanted to destroy. See, when people use it, they want to destroy your innocence because theirs were destroyed. Understand that. So all they know how to do is destroy another person's because theirs was destroyed. When what they really want to do is rebuild it. When they latch on to someone who has that innocence, they latch on to you because theirs is gone and they want it back. But what they're doing is they're stealing yours instead of doing the work and building theirs. Because to be honest with you, and I always tell people to do the work, right? But to be honest with you, sometimes that pain is so much that it will feel like it will kill that person if they even do it. So they don't. I understand. Oh, I understand. But my loves, you don't give it to them. You love you enough to be like, no, this is my innocence. This is my vulnerability. You can't have it. I share it with you because I love you, but you can't have it and you will not abuse it. This is my inner beauty. You will not touch. And please don't hate yourself when someone does misuse it. Okay? Just take it, kindly take it back. Say no and mean no. And you walk away. Because that is the heart of you that no one is supposed to destroy. And no one is supposed to beat up. And again, when people do, they don't see it in themselves. They think it's gone. Your innocence never leaves you. They think it's gone. They think there's no way of getting it back because they're in their script in their head and they're running around in a circle, a hamster wheel. They don't know how to find theirs. But then they put on that front and refuse to be vulnerable to bring it back. You have to be vulnerable to bring it back. Okay? When you bring a child back, you're not gruff and rough. And when you are, you get major resistance. And you don't get the child you were hoping for. You don't get that feeling you were hoping for. You don't get that love you wanted. You don't get that innocence because you just pushed it down in the child, right? It's the same thing with us. When you want somebody and you're trying to force them to be there, or you're trying to force them to do something, and then you're mad because they don't want to be there and they don't want to deal with you and they don't want to give you those emotions, and then those people get irate and mad and how dare you and start throwing tantrums, you're looking at a broken ass person. And all they know how to do is take, because that's all that was done to them. This is why it's so important to see the mirror. So important to see the in-between spaces that is very hard for us to see. My love, your vulnerability is a gift. It's a gift. Don't be afraid to share it with the world and have your boundaries. Don't be afraid to protect it, but don't blame yourself when someone misuses it. Okay? Or tries to. Don't blame yourself. No. That keeps love away from you and at arm's distance. Don't blame you. Love you. Love that child. Love it. Because it needs the love to heal that pain. You understand? Love it. All right, my loves. I love you. If you want me to talk more on that, I absolutely can. Just let me know down below. And we will continue moving on in love. All right, love.